Hey horror fans, today we're doing a horror rewind back to the year 2019. Let's fire up the time machine and see what the world of horror movies had to offer. Let's start the list off with some honorable mentions and then jump into a top 10 list. Of course, the top 10 will be filled with fan favorite blockbusters, but I'll try to throw in a couple lesser known titles to keep the list spicy. Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Critique is so limiting and emotionally draining.
Velvet Buzzsaw. This strange little gem is all about a very odd art collection that is discovered. Does this collection contain paranormal powers? What happens when interactive art gets a taste for blood? To find out these answers, give Velvet Buzzsaw a try. Unique story, and oh yes, there will be blood. We Have Always Lived in the Castle. This fantasy thriller stars Alexandra Daddario and is set in a mansion on an old family estate. The family are bound to this place, and whenever they enter the nearby town, they are ostracized by the locals. Mystery and charm abound in this film, which leads to a very interesting ending.
Maybe there is something wrong with Brandon.
Brightburn. So this one is like the horror version of Superman. The plot follows Brandon Breyer, a boy of extraterrestrial origins raised on Earth who discovers he has superpowers. Kinda reminds me of evil Superman from the game Injustice. When Brandon turns 12, he goes from a sweet child to a child that cannot contain his anger within. Brightburn has some scary vibes and definitely worth a watch if you've never seen this 2019 horror film. Crawl follows Florida Gator college swimmer Haley Keller as a Category 5 hurricane is about to bear down on her. This one is all about action as we follow Haley trying to avoid alligators and dodge the storm that is creating chaos all around her. The action will keep you entertained, and to be honest, it's not a bad watch.
3, 2, hear that?
3 from Hell. From the twisted mind of Mr. Dragula himself, Rob Zombie wrote and directed this blood-drenched offering from 2019. This was actor Sid Haig, known as Captain Spaulding's last film, released just 5 days before his death. So yeah, this is just a tale of murder and debauchery. Hell yeah, brother, check it out. Honorable mentions are out of the way, now let's dive into the top 10. Coming in at number 10 is Freaks. 7-year-old Chloe lives a secluded life with her father, who is trying to protect her from the Abnormal Defense Force, a paramilitary force who track down mutants, or aptly named freaks, for this film. As you may have surmised, Chloe discovers she has her own powers, and this is why her father tried so hard to hide her. This is a pretty interesting flick and grabs today's number 10 spot.
Oh shit, 115, 113, 120, I don't know, it's moving that way.
Why is everyone shouting
11.
numbers? 12!
6, 2 o'clock.
Number 9, Zombieland Double Tap. The long-awaited sequel to Zombieland finally dropped in 2019. That's right, a decade after the original. Was it worth the wait? Yeah, for the most part. Maybe it was a drop-off from the original, but that was to be expected. Double Tap brings back our 4 main characters while adding some new faces to the mix. The action and gore is still there while adding some comedy along the way. For this reason, Zombieland Double Tap deserves to be on 2019's Best Horror list. Number 8, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Does a young adult classic book series brought to life sound interesting to you? How about one produced by Guillermo del Toro? Well, if that sounds like something that trips your trigger, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark is the movie for you. Press play on this one today and enjoy several short stories like Harold, The Big Toe, and The Red Spot. This one was a hit for all ages and helped make 2019 just a bit spookier. Number 7, The Perfection. This one is my sleeper pick for 2019 horror. A sinister storyline portrayed perfectly that will have you questioning, what the hell did I just watch?
They're fucking alive! They're fucking alive at me! It's bad! They're fucking bad! What the fuck?
The story starts off with talented young cellist Charlotte dropping out of an exclusive musical school to tend to her ailing mother. Charlotte tries to get back into the scene after the passing of her mother. She finds herself in China where she spends time with a young musical prodigy named Lizzie. The next thing you know, we are going on a hallucinatory horror trip. I'm talking delusional parasitosis and hacking off body parts. Yeah, the volume gets turned up real damn quick in this one. This is such a good movie with so many layers. Once you think you've got it all figured out, wrong answer, and another curveball is thrown your way. Is perfection attainable? Well, I always say don't let perfection get in the way of good enough. After watching this movie, maybe you'll agree. Number 6, Happy Death Day to You. This dark comedy slasher is the follow-up to 2017's Happy Death Day. Thanks to college students working on an experimental quantum reactor, this movie turns into a twisted version of Groundhog's Day, as the main character wakes up on the same day, September 18th, her birthday, after each death. Each time, though, something is a little bit off. In order to escape this loop, she must kill the original killer. This movie is a fun time. With suspense around every corner, Happy Death Day to You grabs the 6th spot. Number 5, The Platform. This Spanish horror film checks all the boxes for me, showing the horror of humanity and, more importantly, actually being original. Being original is so important to me. It's so commonplace now to rehash an already existing idea and slap part 2 or part 3 on it. Seeing a movie like this was definitely a breath of fresh air. Taking place on a descending platform that travels 333 levels, we see how each level is different, and the same can be said for the inhabitants of each level. Each day the platform is lowered with a bounty of delicious gourmet offerings for the people to eat. If you happen to be located on the top 50 floors, there's a good chance you won't go to bed hungry. But as we travel lower, the true depravity of this movie comes into focus. What happens to a person forced to live in horrible conditions, fearful of their companions, delusional from lack of food? What lengths will be taken to survive? For answers to these questions, go check out The Platform today. Number 4, It, Chapter 2. Bringing in nearly $500 million at the box office, we can't talk about horror movies of 2019 without bringing up It, Chapter 2. In 2016, 27 years after his original defeat, Pennywise returns to Derry, Maine, killing a man named Adrian Mellon, whose boyfriend was assaulted by teens during a hate crime. Interesting fact some people may not know is that this is based on an actual incident. Charles Howard was thrown off the State Street Bridge in 1984 while walking home with his boyfriend in Bangor, Maine. Charles, unable to swim, drowned in the Kenduskeag River, while his partner was able to escape the teens who perpetrated this attack. Back in the day, this case brought a lot of attention to the issue of hate crimes and the effects it can have on a small community. Back to the movie, the Losers Club is brought back together as they must come to terms with how their lives have turned out and try to combine forces to send the dancing clown back to the void he has crawled out of. Number 3, Ready or Not. In Ready or Not, we follow Samara Weaving, being her badass self as usual. She plays Grace, the bride-to-be to Alex, heir to the Ladomas family game company. The family makes a deal with Labail, a dark entity representing the devil. Sacrifices are traded in exchange for fortune. A tradition must be followed. At midnight on their wedding day, every new member must draw a game card from Labail's puzzle box. Grace draws the hide-and-seek card. If she can stay hidden till dawn, she wins. Unfortunately for her, the other family members must track her down in order to save their own lives. How will this twisted game of hide-and-seek play out? This movie ends in a crescendo of gore. A must-see for any horror fan. Number 2, Dr. Sleep. 2019 was a big year for Stephen King fans. Not only did It Chapter 2 premiere, but so did the reimagined follow-up to The Shining, Dr. Sleep. This film follows Ewan McGregor as Dan Torrance, all grown up and trying to outrun the horrors of his youth surrounding the events at the Overlook Hotel. His counterpart to this saga is Rose the Hat, played by Rebecca Ferguson. Rose and her gang of psychic vampires known as the True Knot feed off the steam released by people who have the Shining. To release the steam, the victims must die in agony. The more pain they endure, the more steam they produce. These creatures treat the steam like a crack rock and are always on the lookout for the next hit. Fans of Stephen King and newcomers alike can enjoy this dark tale.
That's what I mean!
Taking the number 1 spot for Best Horror Movie Release of 2019 is The Lighthouse, starring Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. This movie is a psychological horror masterpiece. This movie plays off themes of superstition and paranoia. Between the mermaid, drunken stupors, and fever dreams, this movie will send you on a one-way flight that tragically tailspins into insanity. Check out The Lighthouse today or any of the other movies we covered. Each has their own vibe, from slasher to psychological, gore to survival. 2019 had a little something for everyone. This has been Planet Phobia. Thanks for watching.